Lisbon began as a city at the far west of the known world, and due to a mastery of the winds, soon made itself the very center.
In ancient times, Lisbon was known as Olisipo, and due to a similarity in names, Roman authors believed that the city was founded by Ulysses. In those days, Portugal was famous for its horses, which were believed to be so fast because the female horses were impregnated by the western wind itself.
These horses were supposedly present at the Battle of Troy. In those days, southern Portugal was also known for its prized fish sauce, what the Romans knew as garum. The best kind of this deep brown liquid was supposed to be from fermented mackerel. In this area, mackerel is abundant as the schools migrate from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean, making a natural choke point for easier fishing. Today, at the Palacio do Governador Hotel, you can see the ruins of an ancient garum factory with vats to cure the fish. As you can see, the Portuguese have been salting fish for centuries, hence their signature dish, bacalhau, or salted cod. During the Islamic period, Lisbon was home to large numbers of Muslims and Jews who were allowed to stay for several centuries after the Christian reconquest. Alfama, the district near the Torre do Belém, was a Muslim neighborhood, named after the Arabic for baths. So was Mouraria, literally the Moorish quarter, later a poverty-stricken district that gave rise to the Arabic-influenced Fado, Portugal's soulful music of saudade, a hard-to-translate word meaning bittersweet longing.
Minha alma triste e serena, nem só por mim chora já. Bem chora por ter pena.
Eventually, Jews and Muslims suffered discrimination and massacres, making Portugal an extremely Christian place. This early ethnic cleansing has since seen an ironic conclusion in the 20th and 21st centuries. As a neutral country in World War II, Lisbon, being a free port, was a place of escape from Europe for about 40 to 50,000 Jews. Later, in 2018, the world headquarters of Ismaili Islam was set up in the Henrique de Mendoza Palace by Aga Khan, the spiritual leader of this branch of Shia faithful. Going back to the Middle Ages, Portugal, as a coastal country, famous for that fertile west wind, was one of the first to harness it.
Once Europeans learned that there was land across this water, Portugal became very much the center of the world. Specifically thanks to this guy at the end here, Prince Henry, known as the Navigator.
He wanted to solve the difficult problem of getting down the African coast. By investing heavily into the science of navigation,
The Portuguese perfected the Volta do Mar, or an understanding of the North Atlantic's winds and currents, prepping them to become world explorers. Talked about the Volta do Mar a bit in my video on the Azores. If you'd like to learn more, click right here. They also perfected their boats, combining square sails to sail with the wind behind them with the lateen rigging you see here for maneuvering along coasts, creating the caravel, the workhorse of the age of exploration.
the Portuguese were soon sailing down the African coast, where the indigenous peoples noted their presence, carving ivories with bearded men in tunics wearing cross necklaces. And likely, the influence also went the other way. The Torre do Belém is an example of Manueline architecture, a Portuguese style from the 16th century. Some scholars believe that the characteristic textures of twisted, braided, and beaded lines was influenced by African carving.
Like most ancient European cities, Lisbon is built on a river, specifically the River Tagus. And this is the bridge over the River Tagus, or the 25th of April Bridge. It's one of the most striking landmarks in Lisbon. If it looks familiar to your American eyes, that's because the same contracting company that built the San Francisco Bay Bridge built this bridge. But one of Lisbon's greatest effects on Europe would be due to disaster. In 1755, an earthquake rocked the city, absolutely destroying it. For the religious of Europe, the earthquake was fairly ominous because it happened on All Saints' Day and destroyed all the churches in Lisbon. But this was also the time of the Enlightenment, when Europe was starting to apply the scientific method. So, for the less religious, it was an opportunity. The Prime Minister of Portugal at the time, the Marquês de Pombal, who was basically running the country at the time, sent out a questionnaire to the whole country, asking various questions. For example, what time did people feel the earthquake? Did it have any effect on the sea? What height were the waves if it did? And this allowed for the collecting of data that led to the modern science of seismology.
When you come here, one of the most picturesque ways to travel is by taking trams, which climb up the steep hills. Initially pulled by mules, they were eventually electrified. And since the various technologies come from the United States, the trams were originally known as Americanos. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram so that you can get history on your travels to know before you go.